And I would just tell a kind of a personal testimonial story of my wife, Leslie, who experienced a miracle on the X39 pad. And she had colonoscopies periodically. And one time the doctor called her and said, you got to come back from Colorado and have surgery in Phoenix. So she had the surgery, and luckily she dodged a bullet. It was very early. You know, she was cured from that. Every 6 months after that, she had to have another colonoscopy, and it came back the same way. Inflammation. About 6 months ago, or 8 months ago, she had a colonoscopy, and the doctor comes in recovery, and he says, what the heck are you doing? Your colon looks like you never had Crohn's. She says, all I've been doing is wearing this little patch for a couple months. He says, unbelievable. And the biopsies came back normal colon. So we consider that.
Just a little bit about myself. I'm from Connecticut. And I recently came out to Southern California for some treatment. I was diagnosed with breast cancer October of 2021. At that point, it was stage 2. I had done a mastectomy, and then I did a little bit of traditional treatment at home in Connecticut from February until July 2022. I was never able to clear the breast cancer completely because it had at that point metastasized to my spine and my hip or my pelvis. So it went from stage 2 to stage 4. Couldn't completely get rid of it with traditional treatment. So then at that point, you know, I decided back in November 2022 that I would try to radiate the spots on my hip. At that point, the doctor had said, you know, we're going to just treat this with hormone treatment. We're not going to radiate. And I wasn't happy with that. So I found an integrative medicine place in Southern California, came to Irvine, where I met a woman named Anita who introduced me to the patches at that point. So that was end of January this year. And, you know, so at that point I was putting the X39 on my pelvis and on my spine. And, you know, during this time about, you know, January of this year and December of last year, I would say for maybe 2 to 3 months, I wasn't able to run, really exercise much. It had kind of taken a toll on my bones at that point. I was an avid runner, like 6 miles a day, and I played college soccer. So pretty disappointing that I wasn't able to exercise the amount I was doing. And so she introduced me to the patches, started patching, and March 17th of this year, I received a clear scan, no evidence of disease. The patches still remain on, and it's showing that the bone is healing. I just went to get a scan done also for my bone density. That's showing that it's within the normal range as well. So things are heading in the right direction, and I started running again for like 40 minutes now. So, you know, it's just amazing, what it has done for my life. And, you know, I have 2 little kids. I'm only 37 years old. And, you know, I couldn't be more grateful for the position I'm in.
You were using the X39 and then you added the Aeon. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Anita kind of instructed me exactly kind of what she wanted me to do. And that was, you know, that was it, the Aeon plus the X39, still putting it there. I actually developed TMJ as well. So just from stress. And so I've been putting it, you know, on the TMJ and behind my neck. And that has come a long way. I was on a puree diet because of the amount of stress I was under. And now I'm eating again as well. So more normal solid foods, I should say, instead of puree. So I would like to continue the patches. I hope other people can benefit from my story, and hope it changes other people's lives, because it certainly has changed mine. You know, this was an unforeseen journey, and I never expected to get this diagnosis, to be stage 4 at 37 years old and then be able to have a clear scan. So I'll forever be using
Within the first 7 to 10 days I was on X39, my energy level doubled. Now, I have been very low energy since I was a sophomore in high school. So that was phenomenal. Within 6 to 7 weeks, my sleep pattern got dramatically better. I used to sleep for an hour and be up for an hour, sleep for 2, be up for 3. And between 6 and 7 weeks on X39, somewhere in that neighborhood, I started to sleep 6 to 7 hours straight through. My energy went through the roof. I was waking up looking for stuff to do where I used to just lay in bed. So that was amazing. They found prostate cancer in me 14 years ago. And I hope this isn't too much information, but guys, I could not urinate for 12 years at all unless I was on medication. I had to take a little red pill every day to be able to urinate. Twice in that 12-year time period that I was on that pill, I forgot to take it in the morning somehow, and both times I ended up in the emergency room with a catheter. So I'm on the patch about 3.5 months, and one day my flow is very strong, and the next day it's very strong again, and I'm thinking, do I dare stop taking this pill to see what happens? And I have not had to take that pill for over almost 3.5 years now. So I'm back to where I was when I was 30.
They told me I had an 87% chance of reoccurrence. And I had the PTSD all the time that it was going to come back and get me. And this year I spent some time with my oncologist, and she went over all my records, and my blood work's 5-star and everything's just doing great. And she said she's never ever said this to anyone with esophageal cancer. But I took an 87% chance of reoccurrence, and I turned it into a 1%.
Guys, I was diagnosed, and then over the course of the next few weeks, I was stage 4 non-Hodgkin's follicular lymphoma. Basically, what that is, I have blood cancer. It is in my bone marrow, above and below the collarbone, for those that know a little bit about those staging and that process. So it's really all over my body. Okay. I was not a candidate for radiation, but was a candidate for really rapid chemotherapy. I told the doctor, I said, I'll be back from the beach, and then we can talk about this. I have to wrap my head around it. This was by then June. He said, when will you be back from the beach? And I said, well, September. And so we went from there. And then it was over the course of that time that I met Stacy, and she talked to me about stem cell therapy. I went back. I did decide to go through a traditional course of treatment, but was given these words: you will die with this disease, and you will never, ever be in remission, is what I was told. So let's fast forward. Been through a lot of things. I've been through a lot of surgeries, been through a lot of treatment, been through a lot of prayer, been through a lot of holistic treatment. When someone's diagnosed with something like this, we all have we all want to help. Everybody wants to help. And I had people calling me from all over the country. I had prayer warriors all over the world. My dad's an international evangelist. And so I had people praying for me from all over the world. I had people wanting to ship me CBD, rub frankincense on my belly. They wanted to give me turkey poop mushrooms, go get in colonics with coffee in Mexico, or go live in a hyperbaric chamber in Germany. Almost 2 months, I had a scheduled CT already planned, because I've been going, like I said, every 3 to 6 months for my whole life, okay? And had a CT planned, went in, did the CT, then, they make you come back in like 3 days, and I sat down with my oncologist, and he's this big, beautiful man, and he just laid his arms back, and he said, Alicia, this is the best CT you've had in 7 years. And he said, I don't know what you're doing. I don't want to know what you're doing, but just keep doing it. And he gave me a year clear, you guys. He gave me a year clear. I was blown away, because let me just tell you, the little X39 patch was the only thing. I had not changed my diet. I had not changed my water intake. I had not changed and done anything different, guys. The only thing different was I was putting this patch on every day. And I thought, okay, wait. I pulled my CT reports. I've got them all here. So this is what it says. Grossly unchanged prior to exam, no new or enlarging lymph node is identified.
When was that? Okay, when was that scan?
Okay, wait. This one was July 15th, 2021.
Okay.
Okay. So then 2022 went in, got another year clear. Now, this was after I had been going in to see the doctor every 3 months for the last 7 years. And I was feeling good. I mean, Stacey, you got my before and after for 6 months too. It's kind of embarrassing to pull that up because I don't realize I looked that bad. But anyway, yeah, you guys,
Yeah,
look
wow.
at 6 months of what using these patches did for me. And super cool thing here too is I started noticing a pattern of people that were doing this. And I want you to look at my eyes. Do my eyes not look so different? They look clearer, they look wider, they look more open. So I finally had to ask Dr. Stacey, I was like, what's the deal? And she said, Alicia, there's less inflammation in your body. I mean, you guys, I looked like I lost weight here. There's no weight loss here. It's the inflammation was leaving my body, and it's just from these patches. So
look at your picture now, though. Like, look at you now.
It's
This
unbelievable.
was 6 months, but look at you now. Like, this is you. You look totally different than you did after 6 months.
Yeah,
I do.
absolutely. And Alicia, we gotta dial it down a little bit on the timeline. Like, it wasn't 2 months. It was 45 days after you started patching.
It was actually 43.
Oh my, okay, there we go. 43 days after patching. Now, people in the chat are asking the patches you use. And I remember when we ordered for you, we got you X39, Aeon, and glutathione, right?
Those are my 3 go-to every
Yeah.
day for the past 2 years. Every day for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I've played with the glutathione sometimes at night, sometimes at day, but I do it on the day. So I do it on the days. And I know you want to wrap and roll because we need to get to this year, okay? Not only has I continue to sleep better, I continue to feel better, I have energy, I have a brand new granddaughter, I've been chasing her all day. She started walking, so you got to have that energy and going with that. But here we are, and it's July again, and my annual CT is July, and so I have it right here, July 14th, 2023, okay? And I just went in, and it says, index lengths have decreased compared to prior study, okay? All right, guys, this is not how this disease is supposed to respond. This is not this is not what I was told in 2014. I was told I would get sicker, it would get worse, and I would be like, the main thing that they wanted to keep me from was it just like getting worse over time. And they were calling it watch and wait, because we just got to watch and wait because it's going to get bad, is basically what they've said. But every one of these reports keeps saying, I'm getting better. I am healing. It is reducing. It is shrinking. It is going away, you guys. And so literally when he read this report to me Monday a week ago, he said, how about I give you 2 years? I don't even know if they didn't hear me down the hallway of the hospital because I squealed so loud. I never, ever thought that I would get a 2-year clear. I never thought I'd get a 1-year clear, but I never, ever thought that I would get a 2-year.
My dad went through a lot of stomach pain for the last, I think it was 1.5 years. And no one could really determine what that stomach pain was. He went through a lot of blood work and a lot of MRIs. And so finally in January, he went to see an urgent care doctor. Doctor said he needed to do an MRI on his gallbladder, and that's when they found the mass on his pancreas. So some tests later, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer stage 4 and lung cancer, which were like 2 spots on his lungs, which wasn't related to each other. And they basically told him he has 2 options, chemo or hospice for, maybe 3 to 6 months. If he did chemo, they would maybe buy him another 4 weeks. So we said we're going to go with hospice. And shortly after that, after his diagnosis, Ruby, a good friend of mine, basically gave me the patches, and I was still closed-minded about it. I was in a bad place in the last year and a half with what was going on with my dad. So I took the patches and I just put it on him where she recommended me to do so. And about a week and a half later, I started to notice things. Now he was going downhill fast. He was losing weight. He was dropping down to 157. He wasn't eating. He was getting really skinny. Didn't have an appetite. No energy. Always on the oxygen machine, which hospice gave us. And then about a week and a half later, I just started to notice these changes. His face looked a little different. He started to move around on his own because prior to that, I had him on my shoulders and just kind of helped him up and move around. And I just noticed that he was able to walk on his own and move from the bedroom to the living room and things like that. So that was pretty cool. And I had a conversation with him and he told me, I noticed I don't have any stomach pain. And this is the stomach pain, the same stomach pain he's had for a year and a half. And we always thought it was something else. And he went from procedure to procedure. So for him not to have any pain, it was a big deal for me to hear from him. And no longer, he said he wasn't taking his hydrocodone or prednisone. We also took him off of his heart/blood pressure meds because his blood pressure was right in line where it needed to be, and we didn't want it to drop too low. So his vitals are good every day now. He has a lot more energy. He's doing very well, hardly an oxygen machine. Eating, he's gained weight. His weight is 165 pounds. He has a great appetite. I can't believe how much food he's eating these days. And he's in the kitchen cooking again and helping me to cook because I'm the one that don't know how to cook. So he's showing me how to cook his favorite dishes. And now he's patching himself and he's taking the patches off when he needs to. And so we just have a lot of great testimonials with him. I have had some myself, but I think I'll leave it at that for now. Marcy, thank you so much.